Hey, welcome back to the Chat Builds. My name is Jerome. Today I've got an episode on my GS450 Suzuki, the bike I like to call Persistence, the first bike I ever did. And in this video, you will see me starting it back up at the spring of this year. So the bike came out of the shed over there. It didn't run properly at all, and I was hoping to fix it. So that's where I start the video. I will put some air filters in it, hoping that it'll run. But I'll run into a surprise, and you'll see that in this video, and we'll have to tackle that problem. There will be some carb work, electrical work, air filters, clutch work, a lot of clutch work. You'll have to wait till the end of the video and see if I get it running. The video that will be after this, when I do whatever I do in this video, is actually this video. So that's where I picked it up, and I did more work on the carb, especially the mounting of the carb, the jetting, and stuff like that. But today's video is before I do that. So I hope you're still with me. Timeline isn't completely correct, but I didn't want to leave this video in the shelf. I really wanted to show it to you. So that's why I'm posting it now. I just haven't had time to do it. I've been really working on the GL 1100 lately, and it'd be fun to put out another video of the other bike I did and the other work I did this summer and spring. So yeah, subscribe if you want to, please. I'll be very grateful for that. I'm closing in on 1,000. You can get some Dutch merch on my eBay web shop. Link is in the description. You can also get a t-shirt on the bike I'm working on today. So the GS450 Persistence bike in different colors. And wish you all a very Merry Christmas also, and Happy New Year already, because we're closing into the end of that. And I guess enjoy today's video. Cheers. So I'm going to do some work on my GS450 over here, which has had problems running properly, and I think it's because of the air pod units that I've got on these. These are like really crappy ones, and I've kind of been saving up to get proper K&Ns, as you can see here. So these are hopefully going to help with getting correct airflow to this engine. I think I have to do some work on the jets. There are bigger jets in here already, and I think I have to clean it out again, but I'm just gonna have a go. I'm gonna mount these AirPods. I have to get some oil in them first and just see what it does and how the bike responds to it. Yeah, let's have a try. And I'm gonna put it on the stand over here because it's still got clutch problems, but I just want to have a go at this and kind of see what it does running wise. And yeah, now there's always a lot of questions on that bike with regards to these, so I'm really curious if this helps anybody else out. I've got these K&Ns. They're reasonably expensive, I think, for what they do, but they are RC1822, and I've already fitted one and they fit lovely. Can't really remember what size it was, but I put that in a link underneath over here, and you really have to read this, and I will do that as well. What you need to do with all the different jets, so how much you should increase them. But first I'm just going to have a try. Before that I've got this as well. So this is the actual oil that you need to spray onto this thing, and this is a cleaner, so air filter cleaner. Don't need that right now, but it will come in handy later on. Yeah, so let's do that filter first. Never done this before, so it should turn red, I think. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. So now it's all nice and red, and it can go on the bike. Now mounting these is pretty straightforward, but just make sure you really tighten these, because I have read people that actually lost these things on the way and they're pretty expensive. It's one of the reasons I actually had to make a different mounting for the carb as it was moving a lot. That's in the other video, but this is how it came out, and it fit nice. Filter. Whoa. Okay, so I sprayed them and they should dry for about 20 minutes. So I'm just going to take the time to fill up the gas tank a bit. Let's just see if the M unit is still alive. Yep, that's working. At this point, I noticed that the right side blinker wasn't working. There was still an issue with the brake light, but the M unit was giving the signals, so it was just probably some wiring. Later on, I found the LED strip was broken, but you'll see it later in the video. I was gonna fill this thing up with fuel real quick because I want to ride it like I think 2 days after I was making this video, so it's kind of pressed for time. And I was just gonna check the oil before I'm gonna start it, and then I saw that the oil was really thin, and it was so thin I realized it's fuel and oil, it's too much, and that's where the problems started arising. Gas. There's fuel in there. So I just checked the oil on that thing. It's full of fuel, so I have to drain the oil. So as you can see, I drained the oil and there came out a lot. I didn't have enough room in these trays, so that was really shocking to see. Okay, so that was a potential disaster. All the fuel that I just threw in the tank actually went straight through to the engine, like immediately, and it's out now. So I don't know what happened, but something's wrong with the tank. Something's wrong. Probably the carbs are staying open. Maybe the floats are stuck. So I'm gonna take the air filter off. I'm gonna take the carbs out. I'm gonna put some new oil in the engine. But that could have been really, really bad. If I'd started that engine, that potentially could have blown because it was like full of fuel. I'll show you. So yeah, that's not tin. Look, that's oil and fuel. So that came out. That's quite a lot. I'm glad it did that. So I knew it was leaking a bit, but this is not good. So probably the tank doesn't stop. I had it on pre, so it's probably open all the time, and it ran through. Probably one of the floats got stuck and just kept pouring into the engine. So I still don't know what happened, but problem now is because the engine was completely flush with fuel, all the lubrication is gone, so I have to think about that before I do anything else. And the filter has to go as well, the oil filter. I have to change that as well. So changing the oil filter, maybe get some oil in the top of the cylinders just to get some lubrication again, because it's been flooded. Such a bummer. Alright, anyway, can't do anything about it. So let's fix it. While I was working on the bike, it kept reeking of fuel, so there was still a lot of fuel inside the engine. As you can see, it's just still pouring out. And later I also did the bottom screw in the sump to get all the fuel out, because there's still a lot of fuel in there. Hey, I've got no spring. The spring's missing. Should have been a spring like this on that, so I didn't put that in, I think. Well, I didn't. So I had to remove the carbs as well and see if there was a problem in those. And as you can see, it's already dripping from the carbs. You can see it dripping right in the middle over there where the vacuum rubbers are. And there was fuel everywhere. Later I would mount a different mounting for this carb as well and new jetting, but that's in a different video. Look at this left. It's full of fuel. Jesus Christ. So at this point I removed both spark plugs. Just have a look inside in the cylinder if they were completely drained of fuel or there was something else going on maybe. Didn't expect anything, but I just wanted to make sure that all the fuel was out before I even started the engine again. And later I would put oil straight into the plug holes to kind of lubricate the cylinders again, because fuel would have removed a lot of lubrication, of course. So I couldn't see anything in particular strange, so I cleaned the spark plugs and that was it. So I kind of assumed also that the floats might have been stuck. So I decided to drain the carbs, take them apart and make sure it's really clean, because it had been sitting for a couple of months. Okay, so I'm gonna clean the carbs just to see if I can solve part of the problem, but it's probably been this pet cup over here, which I had on pry instead of fuel, and that probably caused the fuel to constantly fill the carb, and it kind of, well, over time just started filling up the entire engine. And then like fuel started going past the cylinders because all the oil was going away and just filled up the entire engine. So that's probably the problem, but I was going to take these off anyway because I want to check the jets and stuff. So luckily I now have an ultrasonic cleaner. So if you're starting working on bikes with carbs, my advice is get one of these ultrasonic cleaners. You will need it. It will be the best investment, because cleaning those carbs and carb problems are the biggest problems you will have with these bikes, and they have to be clean. So I was also worried about the clutch. It was giving me a lot of problems the year before this, so I decided to replace the entire clutch. Also have a look at the seals on this clutch because of the fuel, and there was still a lot of fuel in the bike. You could smell it. So I decided to take it all apart, clean it, replace the old one with the new one, and get that job done as well. So to remove something like this, there's like two little lips on this thing. One is where my hand is right now, and the other one is on the far left side. So you can kind of put a tool behind it, and that helps to wiggle it free. Sometimes these things can be really stuck. This one's of course fairly new, but that's where you find those. So I was having trouble getting it free, and I was actually stuck on the foot pack handle over there, so that had to come off. Otherwise I wasn't able to get the cover up. After some wiggling, I got it out. So just watch the clutch go. So it's in neutral now. You can see it's not turning. Put it in first gear. Release clutch. As you can see, it's stuck now, which is what you want. So pull the lever again, and you can see it's free now. As soon as I release it, So the actual mechanism works. So I can see that these last three are not really coming loose. And if I push it up to like the fourth gear, the same as resistance, and now it's free again. So this is first gear, I think. Yeah. Put it in neutral, and now it's free again. So it does work. I've had a lot of problems with these bolts. As soon as I torqued them up, I had a couple of them snap, and I had to take off the entire basket and drill out the old ones and put in new ones. So I'm a bit reluctant to replace the clutch plates, but I do have new clutch plates. So these were actually meant for the other GS, but that's still a work in progress. And I should be able to get this thing up and running quicker than the other one. So I'm just going to place these. The only thing is these got notches, and these don't. So like over here, see that? Now maybe that's an upgrade. So I think I'm gonna have a go. I'm gonna take out the old clutch plates and put in these. Now if you look closely, you can even see fuel coming out of the clutch basket the moment I take it out. Just watch underneath. So I've taken it off, and they are different with these notches, but the size is the same. Don't stick out, so I guess we'll go with that. Now I made sure all the clutch plates were nice and clean. The only thing I didn't know is with those little gullies in these discs, how to mount those. So I ended up moving it over at each notch, so to speak. Don't know if that's the right way. If you do know that was the right way, let me know. Here I'm still kind of struggling with it, but as you can see, I kind of flipped it over, and I guess they're oil channels or something. I'm not sure, so maybe they should be in line, I don't know. But I went with this way, and I hope it's the right way. I'm not really sure actually. Alright, so these are back on. They are really dry right now. But in the end it's gonna be a wet clutch, so get the oil in and then turn the clutch basket a couple of times and it should be okay, I guess. So I can put this back together. So this is like a little push rod. There's a bearing on that, and there in the washer, and this is what you actually push in and out with your foot clutch on the other side, or your hind clutch. Now it's really important when you put these screws in here and those springs, which I didn't replace actually, because the replacements, they were a lot bigger. I had problems with that before, that all the bolts would just break off. But if you put this on here, you have to put them in one at a time and just go slow with it. So just ease them in one at a time, and don't go too fast. So the first part I just did by hand, and just go from one to the other, across from each other is the best way usually, and just take it nice and slow. Now obviously I've got the manual to my left with the exact torque settings, which is pretty important here. So I kind of took my time and tried to screw them in till I felt some sort of resistance, and then I took my torque wrench and started putting them in. So just going a bit further and further. I kind of already knew how far I could go, and this is where I start using my torque wrench. And then you just wait for the click and just keep testing them. And again, don't overdo these bolts, because they will snap and you will have a problem. I have had that, so be careful with this. Alright, that's it. So these are torqued down. I use that to hold the wheel and the manual, of course. So that's done. Okay, so I've got the clutch back in and it's working now. I had to adjust the cable. You can adjust it over here, and underneath this cap. So I kind of adjusted it, and now it comes free. So you can see I'm turning the wheel now. And release the clutch, and it's stuck. So that's working. So I'm going to put everything back together. I actually was taking the fuel a lot still, so I removed the plug underneath here again, and this entire bowl filled up like halfway. So for some reason, moving it around, kind of got fuel from somewhere else, maybe from the cylinders or something. But I'm pretty sure it's empty now. I can't smell any fuel anymore. So I'm pretty confident to put the cover back on the side, put everything back together. I've done the carbs already, which are over here. So the carbs are now ultrasonically cleaned. Again, I'm not really sure if this is going to hold any fuel, so I'm going to try it out in a minute. First, I'm going to put the cover back together. So this cover onto the engine, so it's sealed up again. So I also had to do a lot of wiring. The LED strip on the back didn't work for some reason, so I had to replace it, which meant soldering a lot of wires again. And there were a few other things I had to do to get a lithium battery back into this tray. So that's what I'm doing here. Works. Okay, so I had some issues with the brake light. Turned out it was like a loose wire inside the headlight. It's causing an electrical issue, like a short, and now it's fixed. So the brakes work, the indicators work. I had to replace this LED strip that actually burnt through. So from my NWT stuff, I actually got one of these. So a bit crude maybe because it's on a Motogadget now, but that works as well. So I'm still not happy with the jetting, of course, of this bike. That's something I would address later in the other video I mentioned in the beginning of the video. But at this point, I still have the old jets in there, and they would make an enormous difference. I'm still kind of fine-tuning it here, but I wouldn't never really get it really good. So the other jets that came in later did make an enormous difference. But here I'm still kind of tinkering with the idle adjuster screw and stuff like that. Kind of got it running, wasn't perfect. It still never is, actually, I have to mention. But at that point, I was pretty happy, considering the engine was full of fuel like a few hours before. So I hope you enjoyed the video. It ran, and it was only going to improve more with the other video. I did some work on the car mounting, the jetting as well. So check out that video if you haven't already. Again, wishing you all very Merry Christmas, because we're in the December of 2023. So we got a lot of work to do again on all the other bikes. So please, thank you for watching until the end of the video, of course. And I'll see you in the next one. All right, cheers, bye-bye.